So we've worked on our basic chops. We've worked on our 16th note chops. Let's take things a step further and keep building our arsenal of percussive chopping technical vocabulary so that we can really start building some cool, complex rhythmic grooves. The two things that I want to talk about are ghost chops and sounded up chops. Now, I don't know if those are official names. Those are just the words that I've heard used and seem logical to me. So that's what we're going to call them for today. These two ideas are going to help give us even more flexibility and versatility in where and how our subdivisions are sounding. Because if we think about any sort of groove, it's not always going to be on or off, constant playing or constant rests. Sometimes we want variation and variety. We need stressed and unstressed and things in between to make an interesting groove and pattern. If we think about a drummer, for instance, in a really interesting groove, they have all sorts of cymbals and toms and rim shots and kicks and all of these sounds at their disposal to create a groove. And so, while we may not have all of those things, we do have some tools to help give us some more texture and variety in what we can create. So first, let's take a look at ghost chops. Ghost chops, like the name implies, just means chops that we hear less or don't hear at all. So with our initial chop patterns, we've been going for the chop tone. That's why we're practicing the chop. We want to hear that crunch. But sometimes in our patterns, we want to have rests or lighter notes that don't have the full weight of a choppy crunch. But one of the advantages of working in a chop environment is that we are keeping everything on a grid, down, up, down, up, down, up. And so we can use that grid to help us stay in time, stay rhythmic, while also being able to have lighter or silent subdivisions. Here's a pattern that we can work towards to practice our ghost chops. I'll play it at full tempo first and then we'll break it down. So as you can hear, there are some chops in there, but then there's also all of these lighter, almost not heard, but still marking time, still keeping the subdivision. And that's the important thing with these ghost chops, is that they are there to help keep our sense of time and subdivision, but not interrupt our pattern with unwanted extra noise. In some ways, the ghost chops are easier than the normal chops because we don't have to get the extra slide to get the chop. This is where we are going more up and down, almost vertical to the string. With our regular chops, we were aiming to go down at 45 degrees and kind of scrape up at 15 degrees. With these, with the ghost chops, we almost come down so lightly that you might get some sound, but it's almost minimal, almost negligible. I almost feel like my hand is just bouncing up and down on the trampoline of the bow and the string, and it's just kind of bouncing up and down, keeping time while barely hitting the string. So we get a little bit of sound, but not a lot. As you can see, I kind of was letting my ghost chops ride further and further up the string in the same manner as with our 16th chops, having two lanes. I'm just letting my bow ride further up so that my arm has a sense of place and a cyclical feeling to it. So we'll start with a loud chop, then we'll do two pairs of ghost chops working their way up the string. We'll go down for a soft chop and then end with the loud chop again. And if we speed that up a little bit, and if we speed that up a little further, and that is our ghost chops. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I would encourage you to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Let me know in the comments below what questions you have, and what sorts of topics you would be interested in seeing me cover next. If you want to take lessons with me, make recordings with me, or just nerd out over some cool new tech, you can always send me an email listed on my channel page. And if you want to see some of these ideas in action, I would encourage you to check out my duo, ARKAI. Until next time, keep on learning.